everybody. Thanks for joining me tonight. I look so forward to our visits. If you're new here, thank you so much for giving me a chance. I really appreciate it. If you've been here before, thank you so much for coming back. Your support means the world to me. If you are new and you don't know about my channel, think of me as Auntie Angel, everybody's favorite older aunt. And the goal of this channel is I learned a lot in life and I want to share it with you. And if I can share my stories with you and save you 1 second of struggle, pain, or suffering, that's worth it to me. And I've made a lot of mistakes. And if by telling you about them, you can learn from them, that means even more. Okay? So tonight's video, I thought we would do some of the Affirmator cards. Ah, look, I said the word. Affirmators. We started them, and I thought we'd do a few more. And then we'll get comfortable and do our breathing. And we'll read a Celtic fairy tale. And hopefully that's going to lull you into sleep and get you ready and give you sweet, sweet dreams. Okay, so let's begin with some Affirmator cards. Okay, so this first one is joy. To enjoy something, I simply need to add the joy to it. Joy is like butter. I can put it on everything and it makes everything better. Today, I will add joy to everything. Really slather it on. Today, I am the Orville Redenbacher of joy, and life's popcorn is about to get it. There's the popcorn. And I believe that. I always say that about Christmas time. If you can't see the joy, be the joy. And this one is, oh, apropos, letting go. I don't dwell on bad things that have happened. I let things go because I have enough heavy burdens to carry around. And also, grudges aren't a good look. That's very true. I read a book once by Richard Paul Evans called The Locket. And it's about forgiveness. But there's a line in it that kind of became a mantra of mine when it came to forgiveness. And I'll share it with you if you like. It's, you don't cut the rope to save the anchor. And that's very true. Forgiveness is more about the forgiver than the forgivee. Okay. Oh, this one is love. Lovely, love, love, love. Love is a many-splendored thing. Today, I will notice and appreciate at least 3 of those splendors. Like the fact that puppies make me feel like a parent, or the surge of self-congratulations I feel when I sink a 3-point trash basket shot on the first try. Or how about the chills I get when I start singing along to my favorite song? Chills, tingles, whichever you want. Magic. I love magic. I really do. I'll tell you a really cute story. When my daughter was born, my husband and I wanted to go out for our anniversary, which was 10 months later, and it was really the first date we'd had since she'd been born. And there's a little playhouse, a city playhouse near where we live, and it had a big magic show, illusionists. I was very excited, and I bought the tickets, and my mother came to babysit, and we didn't go out for dinner first. It was just for the show. Now, when we got there, I was a little confused because they had a concession stand set up in the lobby with popcorn and things. I thought, oh, that's a little odd. And there were a lot of children. A lot of children. And as we sat in the front row, because I'm a big spender, all $25 a ticket, I realized as it started, this was a kids' magic show. Yeah, a lot of fun, a lot of fun. And we were the only people dressed up to go to the theater. So, magic. I believe in magic. I see evidence of it all the time. And though the tricks can probably be explained away by something sensible and ordinary, I'd rather not ruin the fun. Other people can fill the days with the, it's just a coincidence. I'll fill it in with, holy crap, that's amazing. Magic. I agree with that. I'd rather be taken by surprise. Okay, this one, no judgment. See, it's better to live your life not judging people. I release myself from any and all judgments. I find my inner critic, call it into my office, and tell it to take a vacation. As it leaves the room, I will let out a sigh and begin to enjoy the rest of my being. Good advice. Good advice. Because let's face it, the harshest judge of ourselves is ourselves. So I think that'll be the last one we'll do tonight. We just do a few every night and we'll get through all the cards. So let's get you comfortable, shall we? So let's get your lighting the way you want it. Whether you like it really dark or a sliver of light or a night light or the electric candles. Just remember, Auntie Angel's one rule. That's right, everyone's saying it. No lit candles. Going to sleep with lit candles is dangerous, and we're not going to do it. Okay? So I'm just going to move us closer to the light so Auntie Angel can read. And we'll get the book ready. Now, let's first concentrate on our breathing. Well, no, first let's get comfortable. The lighting's the way you want. So make sure you're sitting on something comfortable, whether it's a couch or a chair, a bed that you're laying on, cushions on the floor, whatever position makes you comfortable. Get in it and really snuggle in, okay? And then we're going to, that's not our breathing, we're just gonna kind of relax our muscles and get right in there, okay? And now we're gonna do our deep breathing, and people who've been here before know we're gonna breathe in for a count of 4, and we're gonna gently hold it for a count of 4. None of this, it's just a gentle hold. And then we're gonna exhale for a count of 4. Okay, let's do it together. 2, 3, 4, hold. 1, 2, 3, 4, release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. And if you can't do 4, don't worry. Do whatever you can. This is about you and making you comfortable. You. Okay, let's do it again. Breathe in through the nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. Let's do this last one together. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold. 1, 2, 3, 4. Release. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very good. And the best part about reading these books, I say this every night, there's only like 1 illustration per story, so I don't need to show them. So this way you can just close your eyes and listen to me read to you and just drift off. Okay, so let me just get comfy and get the book opened, and Molly Whoopi. Are you ready? Good. Once upon a time, 3 sisters went out into the world to seek their fortune. The youngest of the 3 was called Molly Whoopi. They walked and they walked and they walked until nightfall. They began to shiver. They were alone in the dark without food or drink or shelter. So when they saw light, they hurried to it. Knock, knock at the door. A woman opened it an inch. Go away, she said. My man's a giant and he'll eat you up. Please let us in, they begged, and give us some bread and milk. We'll be gone before he comes home. So she let them in and she gave them bread and milk. But as soon as they began to eat, the earth shook. The house trembled, and a voice rumbled. "Snook bot and Snook ben, I smell the blood of some earthly one." "Oh," said the wife, "it's only 3 lassies, cold and hungry, and they will go away. Let them be." The giant sat down to his supper. The table was groaning with food. He got up from his supper, and the table was bare. He wiped his beard, and he looked at Molly Whoopi and her sisters. "You can stay the night," he said, "and sleep with my own daughters." So Molly Whoopi and her sisters lay down in the bed with the giant's 3 daughters. And when the giant tucked them up, he tied a straw around Molly Whoopi's neck and around the neck of her sisters, and gold chains around the necks of his own 3 girls. When everyone else was asleep, Molly slipped from the bed. She took the gold chains off the giant's daughters and put them on herself and her sisters. And she took the straws off her sisters and put them on the giant's daughters, and then lay down. Soon the giant came back, fumbling across the room in the dark. He was carrying a great club. He put his hands on Molly's neck. He felt the necklace of gold, and he moved on. When he found the necklaces of straw, he took the 3 sleeping girls from the bed and hit them with his club until they shared not a spark of breath between them. "Oh, they'll make for a fine meat pie tomorrow," he muttered, and he went back to bed. Molly thought it was time for she and her sisters to be out of there. So she woke them and put a finger to her lips. They stole silently out of the house, and they ran, never stopping until dawn. And when the sun came up, they found they had come to a great palace. In the palace was the king, and Molly told him how they had run away from the giant's house, and how she tricked him into killing his own daughters instead of them. The king said, "Molly, you're a clever girl, and you have managed well. But if you had brought me the giant's sword, which lies beside him every night, I would have given your first sister my son to marry." "Wait here," said Molly. Back she went into the giant's house, and she hid under his bed. She heard the giant come home and the sound of his jaws as he ate his meal. And then she heard his footsteps coming up to the room where Molly was. She held her breath as the giant swung himself into the bed. When he was snoring, Molly crept out from under the bed, and she reached across him to take the sword. But as she took it, it gave a rattle, and up jumped the giant. Molly ran out the door with the sword, and the giant ran right after her. She ran and ran and ran until they came to a river, and Molly plucked a hair from her head and made a bridge from it and crossed over. But the giant couldn't follow. "A curse on you, Molly Whoopi," he cried. "You never come back again." "I'll come when my business brings me," she said. So Molly took the king the sword, and her very first sister was married to the very first son. The king said, "Molly, you're a clever girl, and you have managed well. But if you had brought me the purse that the giant keeps beneath his pillow, I would have given your second sister my second son to marry." "Wait here," said Molly. Back she went into the giant's house, and she hid under his bed. She heard the giant come home and the sound of his jaws as he ate his meal. Then she heard his footsteps coming up to his room. She held her breath as the giant swung himself into the bed. When he was snoring, Molly crept out. She slid her hand beneath his pillow to take the purse. As she took it, it rattled, and it woke the giant. Molly ran out of the door with the purse. The giant ran after her. She ran until she came to the one-hair bridge, and she crossed. But the giant couldn't follow her. "A curse on you, Molly Whoopi," he said. "You never come back again." "I'll come when my business brings me," she said. So Molly took the purse to the king, and her second sister was married to the second son. The king said, "Molly, you're a clever girl, and you have managed well. But if you had brought me the ring from the giant's finger, I would have given you my third son for yourself." "Wait here," said Molly. And back she went into the giant's house, and she hid under his bed. She heard the giant come home, and the sound of his jaws as he ate his meal. And then she heard his footsteps coming up, up, up to the room where she was. She held her breath as the giant swung himself into the bed. When he was snoring, Molly crept out and caught hold of the giant's hand to take the ring from his finger. As she slipped the ring off, it gave a rattle, and it woke the giant. Molly had hold of the ring, but the giant had hold of Molly. "Now I have caught you, Molly Whoopi. Tell me, if I have done to you what you have done to me, how would you get your revenge?" "I would put you in a sack," said Molly, "and I would put the cat in with you, and the dog in with you, and a needle and thread and scissors, and I would hang you to the wall and go to the wood and cut the thickest stick I could find. Then I would come home and take you down and beat you until not a spark of breath was left in you." "Well, Molly," said the giant, "then that's exactly what I'll do." So he fetched a sack and he put Molly in it, with the cat and the dog, a needle, a thread, and scissors, and he hung her on the wall and went off to the woods to choose a stick. And Molly sang, "Oh, if you could see what I can see." "What do you see, Molly?" asked the giant's wife. But Molly didn't answer. She just sang again, "Oh, if you could see what I could see." "Oh, let me look, Molly, let me look," said the giant's wife. "I want to see it too." So Molly took the scissors and cut a hole in the sack and jumped down with the needle and thread. She helped the giant's wife into the sack and she sewed up the hole. "It's very dark in here," said the giant's wife. "I can't see anything." But Molly wouldn't let her out. Molly hid behind the door. The giant came in with a great tree in his hand. He took down the sack and started hitting it. His wife yelled out, "It's me!" But with the barking of the dog and the mewing of the cat, the giant didn't recognize his own wife's voice. Molly came out from behind the door with the ring in her hand. "You can't catch me," she shouted, and she ran off with the ring. The giant stopped beating the sack and ran after her. She ran and she ran until she came to the one-hair bridge, and she crossed it, but the giant couldn't follow. "A curse on you, Molly Whoopi," he cried. "You never come back again." "I've no more business to bring me," she replied. So Molly took the ring to the king and was married to his third son, and she never, ever tangled with a giant again. The end. I think we have time for one short one, don't you? Okay, let's see if we can find one, shall we? How about the little bird? It seems to be quite short. It is. So, many years ago in Ireland, there was a very holy man, one of the monks in the monastery. One day when he was in the garden of the monastery, he was so overcome with the beauty of this world that he fell down on his knees to thank God. As he prayed, he heard the song of a little bird from one of the rose trees in the garden. It was the most lovely song he had ever heard, as joyous as a sunbeam and as liquid as a stream. He rose from his knees and he listened to the heavenly song. The bird flitted from tree to tree, and the holy man followed it. He felt as if he would never tire of hearing it. The bird flew far, far, far from the monastery, and still the holy man followed it, enchanted by its sweet song. At last the bird fell silent, and the holy man knew it was time to return. As he walked back to the monastery, the sun set over the hills in a glory of red and gold. By the time he arrived, it was nightfall. When he got home, the holy man found everything strange. The monks walking here and there were unknown to him. The building seemed altered. Even the garden where he knelt to pray was different. He stopped a monk and he said, "Brother, what is the meaning of all the changes that have taken place since this morning?" "What do you mean?" said the monk. "Nothing has changed." "And who are you?" You wear the habit of our order, but I don't know you." The monk told the other monk his name and how he had fallen to his knees to pray that morning, and wandered away from the garden, following the heavenly song of the little bird. And the monk said, "There is a tradition here that 200 years ago, a brother by your name disappeared from the garden and was never seen again." The holy man replied, "Then I see that my hour has come. God has granted me a glimpse of heaven on earth, and now my soul must depart." So the holy man made his confession to the monk, received absolution, and then he died. For that little bird was an angel sent by God to lead the holy man to heaven. The end. Now, my angels, I hope that you enjoyed our stories and that you're already drifting off to sleep, and that your dreams will lead you to the sweetest of dreams, the sweetest of rests. And always know that I love you, I value you, I honor you, and I'm so very, very glad that you were born.